Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ashley Khadijah Fairul Nazri binti Kamar Zaman. My metric number is 2024272816 and I'm from BA2701A.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatima Akila binti Muhammad Pia. My matrix number is 2024206166.
Hello, my name is Nur Arifah Najwa binti Abdul Wahid. Metric number 2024245498.
Hi, my name is Salia Farzana binti Maisri. My number metric is 20244118892 and I'm from class BA2701A. Inflation. According to Jason Fernando 2024, inflation is a decline in purchasing power over time, shown by a general rise in the price of goods and services. The inflation rate measures the yearly average increase in price for a specific set of goods and services. Inflation can be measured by three measures, which is Consumer Price Index, Producer Price Index, and GDP deflator. First, Consumer Price Index (CPI). According to M. Stella 2012, CPI tracks the change in price of goods and services commonly purchased by households. It reflects how people perceive price change in everyday goods, making it essential tools for measuring inflation. Second, Producer Price Index (PPI). According to J. Warner 2023, PPI measures the average change in price received by a producer over time. Economists use PPI to predict future economic trends and understand organizational activities. Third, GDP deflator. According to Anthony De La Cruz 2023, the GDP deflator calculates how inflation impacts a nation's overall production by excluding import. It measures the total value of all finished goods and services produced domestically. Inflation can cause with three main factors, which is demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, and bull-in inflation. First, demand pull inflation. According to Seda Onu 2024, demand pull inflation occurs when the demand for goods and services exceeds the available supply, when the consumer, business, and government demand more than economy produce. Competition for limited goods and services make price rise. Second, cost push inflation. According to Mary Hall 2024, cost push inflation happens when the cost of production increases, forcing businesses to raise their price. Common causes include higher raw material costs, rising wage, and disruption in supply chain. Third, bull-in inflation. According to BlackRock 2024, bull-in inflation, also known as a wage price inflation. This occurs when the cost of living increases, leading workers to demand higher wage. Businesses then raise their price to cover the increased wage cost, creating a cycle where wage and price keep pushing each other up.
Firstly, I'm going to talk about background in Venezuela. Venezuela, also known as the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. It is a country mainly located in the northern coast of South America. Based on the article, Venezuela, the country has an area of 916,445 square kilometers with a population of 24.2 million people. With 4.6 million residents, the nation's capital, Caracas, is the most populous city and serves as the political, economic, and cultural hub. Venezuela's economy is based primarily on the production and exploitation of petroleum. The country was the world's largest petroleum exporter, and it was long one of the principal exporters of oil to the United States. Venezuela also has natural resources which are natural gas, gold, diamond, bauxite, and iron. Recently, Venezuela has been experiencing significant economic challenges, with one of the major issues being hyperinflation. Venezuela's economic challenges have been caused by poor economic management, political conflict, and decreasing oil prices. As a result of this hyperinflation, many Venezuelans emigrated to seek better opportunities. There is a severe shortage of basic goods like food and benzene.
So today, I'm going to talk about the statistic of inflation in Venezuela. So you see, the country Venezuela has recorded the highest rate of inflation in the world. So according to IMF, they suggest that by the end of 2024, the inflation rate in Venezuela is to be reached 250% inflation rate. And by the end of 2025, by the year 2025, the inflation rate is going to exceed 150%. This is due to their persistent hyperinflation challenges. Although the rate will drop, the rate has dropped, but this means that the inflation is still ongoing in Venezuela. So, as you can see from the graph above here, you see that from the year 2020 to 2024, you can see a significant drop in the inflation rate. So by the end of 2024, the inflation rate has dropped to 99.98%. But this does not mean that the inflation in Venezuela is decreasing. Why? This is because a higher rate of inflation means that the prices are rising at a faster rate. But according to this graph, the inflation rate in Venezuela has dropped to 99.98%, which means a lower rate of inflation means the prices are still rising but at a slower rate. This contributes to the perception that the inflation is still increasing in Venezuela, because inflation means the price rising each year. This is due to the persistent inflation that's happening in Venezuela due to their hyperinflation challenges, and the economy is still unstable, and the prices continue to increase each year. So that means the inflation rate in Venezuela is increasing.
Next, I will explain about issues related to inflation in Venezuela. Firstly, economic mismanagement. The first point is excessive money printing. The Venezuela government resorted to printing excessive amount of money to increase the money supply without a corresponding in the production of goods and services, which devalued the Venezuelan bolivar and led to hyperinflation. The second point is economic mismanagement, is price control. The government applied price control on basic goods to make them affordable for the people. But this artificial price ceiling often fell below cost of production. As a result, producers were unwilling to produce goods at a loss, which led to severe shortage in essential items. Secondly, the issue is high inflation, which is food and medicine shortage. Due to supply chain disruptions caused by hyperinflation, necessities like food, medication, and hygiene supplies are scarce. Health problems and serious malnutrition resulted from this. Second issue in high inflation is weak currency. Venezuela's bolivar consistently lost value due to poor monetary policies, sanctions, and mismanagement. This has increased the cost of imports, driving up the cost of necessities like food and medicine that Venezuela can produce, thus escalating inflation. The depreciation kept inflation high even after the hyperinflation subsided.
Now, I'm gonna talk about impact of inflation in Venezuela. First, economy impact. Under the economy impact, inflation in Venezuela has caused three, which is currency devaluation, high cost of living, and business challenges. First, currency devaluation. According to El Paz in the article The New Grey Dollar in Venezuela is Digital, 2024, the Venezuelan bolivar, the national currency, has lost most of its value, rendering it nearly useless for daily transaction. As a result, many people have turned to other currency such as the dollar, the US dollar, or adopted digital money. This shift has led to the emergence of two distinct economies. The privileged, those with access to dollar or digital payment, have been able to adopt more effectively. These people is more likely the rich people. And then the disadvantage. Individuals relying on the bolivar face soaring price, further eroding their purchasing power. These people is more likely poor people. Ultimately, this currency devaluation has worsened inequality and deepened economic hardship, highlighting the severe damage inflation has caused to Venezuela's economy. Second, high cost of living. In the article, Venezuela inflation has cooled, but voters say they still can't make ends meet. 2024, Reuters explained that during Venezuela hyperinflation period, price of goods and services increased so much that most of people could no longer afford basic needs like food and medicine. Families struggled to survive as they could not afford even the essential. Even though inflation has slowed recently, many Venezuelans are still unable to live comfortably or meet their basic needs. The high cost of living remains a big problem for the majority of the population. This shows how deeply the economic crisis has affected the country and how its impact continues even after inflation has slowed. Third, business challenges. In the article Why Did Venezuela Economy Collapse 2024, Frank Mucci explained that Venezuela's economic crisis created major problems for businesses. For example, uncertain price, material shortage, and rising costs made it very hard for businesses to operate. Many businesses were forced to shut down because they could not survive these challenges. This unstable economy also scared away foreign investors, reducing much needed investment in the country. All these problems weakened the Venezuela economy even more, making it very hard to recover. I'm gonna talk about social impact. Under the social impact, inflation in Venezuela has caused three, which is poverty and hunger, health crisis, and migration crisis. First, poverty and hunger. In the article, Why Did Venezuela Economy Collapse 2024, Frank Mucci also explained that more than 80% of Venezuela live in poverty, a situation made worse by inflation. As a result, many families cannot afford enough food due to the extreme rise in price and the failing value of the bolivar, national currency. Hundreds of households face a severe food crisis, leaving parents unable to feed their children properly. This has worsened hunger across the country, creating a serious humanitarian crisis. The cycle of poverty continues to make life harder for Venezuelans, as many cannot meet even their basic needs. Second, health crisis. According to Frank Mucci in the article Why Did Venezuela Economy Collapse 2024, Venezuela healthcare system is in crisis due to the economic collapse. There are several shortages of medicine, medical supplies, and also equipment. Many hospitals and clinics across the country cannot provide proper healthcare service. Vulnerable people or groups such as children and the elder are the most affected because they need regular medical care. As a result, many people have died from treatable disease due to the lack of medical resource. Diseases that were previously under control are now reappearing. This health crisis is one of the tragic outcomes of Venezuela's ongoing economic collapse. The last one is migration crisis. According to Venezuela Busleta in the article Venezuela Crisis in Brief 2024, millions of Venezuela has left the country in search of better living conditions. This mass migration has become one of the worst crises in modern history. Neighboring countries like Brazil and Colombia has faced immense challenges in managing the large number of migrants. These nations struggle to provide basic services such as housing, healthcare, and education to the growing population of Venezuelans. This has created significant social and economic strain on the region. The migration crisis has not only affected Venezuela, but also put pressure on surrounding countries, making it a regional issue.
Next is policies to solve the issue. First, main point is credit restriction and central bank dollar sales. Policies to limit credit availability to control consumer spending, and the central bank sold US dollar to stabilize the bolivar and manage inflation. Following years of hyperinflation and widespread US sanctions, President Nicolas Maduro's administration started implementing traditional measures to lower consumer price in 2022. These measures include credit restriction, reduced public spending, a fixed dollar bolivar exchange rate, and central bank sales of billions of dollars in foreign currency. Armas 2024. Next is direct or physical control. Fixed exchange rate. Venezuela maintained a fixed exchange rate to curb import costs and stabilize the economy. The government allowed the currency to float in mid-October after holding it at 36.5 bolivars to the dollar for more than 9 months. This sparked a depreciation that has caused the bolivar to fall to roughly 45 versus the dollar, according to central bank data. Additionally, point is social welfare programs and subsidies. Although the Venezuelan government has persisted in offering subsidies for a number of industries such as food and transportation, inflation has reduced the efficiency of these programs. Price increase frequently reduce the value of subsidies before they reach the intended recipient. Second point is social programs. One of the primary ways the government has attempted to combat the rising rates of poverty brought on by inflation is through social welfare initiatives like the CLAP, Local Committees for Supply and Production, which is provide food packages to people. These programs, however, are frequently corrupted and mismanaged, which reduce their ability to control inflation.